Hello, Juwan.
Hey, how are you doing, Jada? Happy
I'm
first day of spring.
happy first day of spring. Thank God for the
Indeed,
day.
indeed.
Where are you joining us from, Juwan?
Well, I am joining you all from my military base in Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you for making the time for us. You look fly.
Thank you.
So, well, first, of course, I gave a little bit of an intro. Prince George's County native public servant and the host of the podcast we'll be talking about today. But tell us a little bit about yourself, Juwan.
Sure. So I was born in Washington, D.C., but raised in Prince George's County. I am married. I have four children. Prior to serving I'm a former lobbyist. I've represented clients on a variety of different issues, and I'm currently serving right now in the DC Army National Guard.
Excellent. And it's a full list of things that you will have going on. How did you make time for a podcast that's going to launch in May?
Sure. So it's definitely a time management thing. When I'm not working, and with the help of my wife and amazing Meetup podcast team, I spend my evenings and even weekends balancing family obligations and then trying to build this podcast, right? But I feel as though I am working in alignment in what I believe my God given purpose and talent is. And so doors have been opened, and I've been grateful thus far for those opportunities.
And is this your first time producing a podcast?
Yeah, so this is my first time producing it. So I actually have a producer. I'm more so the I don't want to say figurehead, but really the host of it. But I'm brand new to podcasting, but I am not brand new to advocacy. And I look at podcasting as an opportunity to serve as a voice for the voiceless, and to create a vehicle of change, right? And to tell stories that are often not told, and to really inform people.
Excellent. And speaking of, we keep saying podcast for folks to make it clear, the Meetup podcast launches
Mhm.
May 1st. And just in general, knowing what podcast can be as a platform for
Mhm.
advocacy, what really inspired you specifically to go with this one, with what we're going to be
Mhm.
tuning into when it comes to?
Sure. Sure. So a couple of things, right? So, I got my start in advocacy and government at a young age, at the age of 13. And what I learned early on is that if you don't define your own narrative, then society would define it for you. And
Mm.
so I remember attending a student government association meeting, because I figured, maybe I can advocate about school lunch and make a difference there. And then that ended up turning into me meeting all of my local and state elected officials. And ever since then, I went on and decided to run for office. I served on the Prince George's County Board of Education my senior year of high school. And then I ended up running in 2018 at the age of 20, the youngest person on the ballot. Advanced through the primaries, fell short in the general. And, again, I learned from those experiences that having a voice is important, and that young people can make a difference in their communities no matter what their age is, but they have to be exposed to what's possible. Right. And so this podcast specifically targets young professionals between the ages of 18 and 35, especially in this current economy. There are a lot of young people that are dealing with being burnt out. There are a lot
Mhm.
of us. One of the biggest pain points, I think, for young people is what happens when you lose a job. Oftentimes, a lot of us identify our purpose based upon the job title that we have. And I know that because when I worked as a lobbyist, when I worked at the comptroller's office, I identified myself by my title. But then when I no longer had those positions, I had to figure out, okay, well, who was truly Juwan Blocker? And a lot of this is sort of what we're going to be talking about on the podcast. And again, bringing in some very influential entrepreneurs, thought leaders, civic engagement leaders, faith leaders, to help young people understand the importance of identifying who they are and what their purpose is in life.
That is amazing. You're preaching to the choir. I would say anyone, even those outside of that target demographic,
Sure.
have felt things one thing at one point or another in their lives. So
Yeah.
that is very powerful. So, how exactly will you be able to kind of engage with these
Hmm.
thought leaders, these civic leaders that are going to come on? Like, where are
Hmm.
you finding them from? How are you kind of make it make sense to the average listener anywhere in the
Sure.
country?
Sure. So I think first and foremost, we have to keep everything in layman's terms, right? Not using big fancy language that we all sometimes get caught up in our acronyms, right? And to be
Mhm.
honest with you, I'm really tapping into a lot of my connections that I made in politics, right? So a couple of folks that I have that are slated to come on the podcast. One person, Mr. Walter Simmons, he's the former founder and CEO of Employee Prince George's County and was recently nominated and selected for a cabinet position with Governor Wes Moore. I have one of my mentors, Clinton Smith. He's a #1 New York Times bestselling author. He'll be coming on at some point. I have Jonathan Midlock, the former mayor of District Heights, the Brandon Paul, and the former mayor of Indian Head, town of Indian Head in Charles County. These are just a couple of the you know influential individuals that I'm going to have on this podcast. And again, we're going to be talking about how they overcame obstacles to become who they are in this job market. I want them to provide answers or just feedback or inspiration for young people trying to navigate the job market, things that they did or tips that they can apply today, so that the podcast isn't just something in theory and inspiration, but folks can walk away with practical skills and tools. But again, I don't want to underestimate or undermine the power of inspiration. If you
Yeah.
can inspire, not motivate, I'm not knocking motivation, but I believe that motivation is temporary. Inspiration is the fuel that keeps the flame lit, right? Keeps the candle going. And I think right now a lot of us need that inspiration and then those practical skills to get after the reason for why we believe we were born.
I love that. I loved every single part of that response. So I want to ask you, when you think about your own
Hmm.
inspirations, influences that kind of not only have gotten you to where you are now, but keep you going.
Hmm.
Who are those? And if, I have to say, it's Women's History Month. So if you want to slide
Oh yeah.
in a couple of women.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, I would first and foremost, I want to thank my mother. I talk about it often, but growing up before being elected to the school board, my mom has worked in one of our school cafeterias since 2004.
Mhm.
And I try not to get too emotional about it, but you know, um, when I was misunderstood, I would get into fights and try to fit in, and I try not to get too emotional about it. But
Take your
there,
time.
there have been times in which I would be in school suspension, and teachers and people would tell me that I wasn't going to be anything, and my mom was right there, and so when I ended up getting on the school board and she was still working in the school cafeteria as a cafeteria worker, I never forget how proud she was of me, because there were a lot of people that counted me out. And when I got my first 40 under 40 award at the age of 17, she was right there. So I want to shout her out first, Tamika Carey, my wife, Shakia Blocker. She motivates me and inspires me each and every day. She's been through a lot. She's been through miscarriages and so much more while pursuing her master's degree and losing jobs. And so, this podcast isn't something that I'm talking about from somebody else's perspective or experience. I know what it feels like to be in between jobs. I know what it feels like to try to attempt to put food on the table, but needing somebody that believes in you, right? And so, or somebody that's going to hopefully give you an opportunity. And these are the people that I'm bringing on this podcast to give other young people who are literally in the same shoes that I was in, the hope and encouragement that they need to move forward. So this is what makes what I'm doing stand out, I think, because it's very near and dear to my heart. And again, I apologize for getting emotional, but
No.
it's real.
No, please don't apologize for loving your mom. Like, shout out to your mom. Shout out to all moms who do exactly like what you were saying. They put in the work for years. They're the ones who are often overlooked, underappreciated. All women, not moms, but women
Mm-hmm.
as a whole. So,
Yep.
shout out to Women's History Month. And thank you for sharing that with us. That was amazing.
Thank
Um, as we wrap up and, close out, I want to give you a chance, please, to shout out again the podcast, let people know where they can find it and how they can stay connected with you ahead of the launch.
Yeah, so right now we are on Instagram at the underscore meet underscore up underscore podcast on Instagram. We are going to literally be on all major streaming platforms where you find podcasts starting May 1st. Folks can follow me at Juwan, Juwan Blocker, Blocker, on all social media platforms, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Instagram.
And thank you so much for being with us today, Juwan. We look forward to tapping in to the Meetup podcast. It launches May 1st. And just in general, thank you for sharing with us your journey, your purpose, and letting us get to know you a little bit better.
Thank you, Jada, and the team.
Absolutely. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.